Murder on the Orient Express is undoubtedly one of the most famous novels written by Agatha Christie, and probably the most famous one featuring Hercule Poirot as the main character. Not surprisingly, the story was already adapted into a graphic adventure in 2006, but there was a change in the protagonist, with Poirot being relegated to the role of mentor and advisor. However, this time, Mike Roats decided to fully utilize the skills of the Belgian detective, but set the story in the present day amidst smartphones and the internet. You all surely know the story, but a brief recap is always useful. While in Turkey, Hercule Poirot is urgently summoned to England, and his friend Book comes to his aid, offering him a place on the luxurious Orient Express, which is about to embark on a celebratory journey pulled by a vintage locomotive. During the journey, Poirot gets to know a diverse group of travelers, including an unpleasant individual named Ratchet, who is soon murdered, while the train becomes stranded by an avalanche on the tracks. It is up to Poirot to untangle the web so that he can then hand over the already packaged culprit to the authorities. This story closely follows Agatha Christie's original text, and the temporal shift doesn't distort the plot in any way. It adapts seamlessly to the modern setting, just like the characters, who retain their original roles adjusted for the modern era. A new addition is the character of the American detective Joanna Locke, a brand new character who, through some flashbacks, allows players to experience the events leading up to the murder firsthand. Joanna is a very likable character who complements Poirot well without fading into his shadow. The novelties, however, do not end there, as the game continues beyond the conclusion of the novel with a brand new plot section. It might not be the most original addition, but it's still enjoyable and allows players to remain immersed in the story for a few more hours. Featuring Poirot as the protagonist, the game is inevitably a detective adventure. So, for those who feared an approach akin to Kenneth Branagh's portrayal after seeing the new look of Poirot, such concerns can be laid to rest. Despite the adventure not being solely mouse-controlled, it's a pure investigative experience without a hint of action. By interrogating the characters, analyzing the scenes, and employing our little grey cells, as Poirot would say, we must untangle the web of Ratchet's murder. Like bloodhounds, we hunt for weaknesses in the suspect's alibis and contradictions. The investigation is somewhat guided, and the excellent interface helps keep track of all the clues collected and tasks to be done. Occasionally, it even presents real tests to prove understanding. However, making mistakes is not an option. In the case of an incorrect answer, you merely retry until you find the right one. The game also includes puzzles and various mini-games, not all of which are equally successful. For example, seeing Poirot momentarily set aside his investigations to repair a juicer or watching him move crates following the rules of the Tower of Hanoi can be somewhat perplexing, although it's amusing that Poirot himself complains about it. However, there are also much better puzzles, especially those involving Joanna. Despite the relatively low difficulty, the game provides a hint system with 3 levels that you can access at any time, resulting in an investigation that spans approximately 11 to 13 hours. The game may not boast a top-tier graphical presentation, but for a medium-budget production, the characters have a distinctive and fitting style. However, this is slightly marred by exaggerated expressions and somewhat stiff movements in places. The train environments are enjoyable and well crafted, but some of the original areas are less impressive. The game's musical accompaniment is decent and suitable for the story, but lacks particularly remarkable tracks to make it stand out, leaving it somewhat in the realm of anonymity. The English voice acting is excellent, featuring some perhaps slightly stereotypical accents but always appropriate performances. Agatha Christie. Murder on the Orient Express is an investigative adventure that will surely please fans of Poirot, who will find themselves facing a script that respects the original text without sacrificing original additions. It's also suitable for gamers looking for a stimulating but not overly challenging adventure